Hello to everybody and welcome to another exciting week of KETIV Virtual Academy. My name is Tyler Hart and I'm thrilled to announce today's topic, upgrading Autodesk Inventor Professional, especially if you have Vault. Our team members Brian and Mario will be taking you behind the scenes today as we explore the ideal Inventor upgrade. Brian is a customer success manager and Mario is an application engineer. They'll introduce themselves in a second. But before that, just a couple of housekeeping items. As usual, please feel free to send all questions to the Q&A at the bottom. We'll do our best to get those answered either during the session or at the end. And also, all of these sessions are recorded and available for distribution on ketiv.com or our YouTube channel. So there's a lot more where this came from. Go check it out. So without further ado, I'll pass things over to Brian and Mario to get us started. Thanks so much for joining us, guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you, Tyler.
All right. Let's go ahead and dive into it. So good morning and good afternoon, depending on where you are and across the states or maybe even around the world. We'll go ahead and do introductions and then we'll dive into the agenda. But the overall purpose for having the webinar here is to make sure we're educating our customers, educating the community of best practices when upgrading your Inventor. If you've done it in the past, you may be familiar with some of the pain points or errors you come across when doing so, and as well as like Tyler was saying, especially if you have Vault. We're focusing on the Inventor side today, but if you have Vault as well, we'll be addressing that too. So with that said, I'll pass it off to you, Mario, for the introduction.
Thanks, Brian. My name is Mario Sobalvarro. I'm application engineer here with KETIV. New to the KETIV family, about a year here, but a long-time customer, probably 14 years or so in the focus of CAD administration, and as a user, have done training with them, and now happy to be on the side of being able to provide support. Experience-wise, 20 years in the custom commercial automation side, machine building, OEM. Also, a lot of CAD administration, setting up Vault, administering Vault, a variety of companies as well. Glad to be here to be able to share knowledge of how to get a successful and kind of streamlined transition for upgrades. I know that's a headache for some people at times.
All right, thank you, Mario. And my name is Brian Mongkolpoonsuk. I'm a customer success manager here at KETIV Technologies. My role is to ensure adoption and the tools and services we provide customers. I've been here at KETIV for 7 years now, and 2 of those years, which were the beginning of the years, I was an application engineer for Fusion 360. A little fun fact about me, I have like 4 or 5 3D printers at home. So I like to 3D print. Here is a QR code that we have for our upcoming events. So go ahead and take out your phones here and go to the photo part of your phone, and you can scan this code to learn more about that. And as always, you can always email support@ketiv.com for any technical questions or any workflow questions, general questions whatsoever. And we're more than happy to assist. And you can also call in the number there, and we're happy to take your call as well, especially if there's some sort of urgency. All right. Today we'll be diving into, these are the major topics. So prerequisites, we typically have these calls with an Inventor specialist on the customer's end, and I would loop in Mario, and we want to make sure that they have the version that they're upgrading to already pre-installed. So we'll talk about that. Pre-configuration for Inventor and Vault. So if you don't have Vault, you kind of like skip over that. But for the Inventor side is what we're focusing on today. We'll be talking about what categories and what to look out for. We have this kind of checklist that we go through to make sure we dot all of our I's and cross our T's, if you will. And post-upgrade service. So after the upgrade is done, what to look out for, or what you need to do. Again, going down that checklist of action items. We do also do the Vault side of this, but we're not focusing on the Vault side of like a Vault upgrade, if you will, per se. We're focusing more, again, on the Inventor side of it today. And then we have a Q&A at the end, so we'll hang back, and if you have any questions, we'll answer at the end. If you have any that's relevant throughout the webinar, feel free to ask as well. Now we have 3 poll questions for you guys to kind of gauge the audience, see what versions users are at. So you should have just popped up there on the screen. If it hasn't, let us know. But the first one is asking about which version of Inventor you're using. So you have 4 different options there. Second one is about where the location of your templates and design data are, if you know that answer. And then the third one is about the location of your content center library. We'll give a few seconds for you guys to answer that. And all right, I think we're good to go. So I'm not sure, are you guys able to see that here on the screen, the polls that I dragged over, or no? I could read out loud. So
yeah.
So the first one, okay. So the first one, 22 out of the 9 that did the survey, 22%, or everyone was on 2018 through 2021 versions. Oh, sorry. I had to scroll up there. Sorry, 78% is on 2022 to 2024. So that's the majority of everyone here. So that's great news. You guys are on a supported current version of an Autodesk product. 22% is on the 2018 to 2021. So just keep in mind, Autodesk supports the current version, so 2024, that's out, and 3 versions back. So that's back to 2021. So if you're on 2020 and older, Autodesk does not create any more hot fixes or bug patches for those versions. So they support 5 versions back total, but only 3 versions back for the hot fixes. So if a Windows update comes along and breaks your workspace, then they don't, then they aren't liable to keep up with those window updates anymore after those 3 versions. So we do encourage customers to stay on the latest and greatest if possible.
Right. And also to that point, Brian, is seeing that 78% or the 2022, 2024 is kind of where you want to be with regards to maintaining regular upgrades, upgrade allowances, I think within 2 years. Is that right, Brian?
Yeah. So yeah, we do recommend. A lot of customers are on the line of, in every other year kind of upgrade, because yeah, like Mario was saying, every 2 years you can jump inside the vault side of things more seamlessly. So that's a good kind of habit to have every 2 years if you can. I know some of the customers on the line here aren't. Sometimes parent companies make the call there, and you don't have that control. But if you can continue, and I know you have preaching to the choir here, continue to persuade them, continue to educate them on why it's important to do it within 2 years at a time. There's a lot of benefits to that, which we'll dive into later today. Next one are template locations. Looks like we're pretty even across the board here. 44% for the network and cloud drive, 33% for location on Vault, and 22% on the local drive. Benefits for saving it on Vault, you're able to do a get, and it has revision control, right? So you're able to make sure that that template is not fiddled with. It's the same one that everyone else is doing a get on, and if not, it'll give you a little icon next to it saying you have the out of date one locally. Do a get to grab the latest one. So there's a lot of benefits there. And even in 2024, as some of you already know, they have an automatic ability to bring that locally to your user's workspace without having them to do that get in the first place. Like once you open up Inventor, it automatically pulls that once you get to 2024 versions of the software. The network and cloud drive, we don't say there's one right way or wrong way. We just give you the pros and cons to both, and ultimately the customer at the end of the day, whatever workflow you have, then it's up to you to decide. But pros there, you're able to save it to the drive there, and everyone can grab once they click on it to open it up, they get the latest version, which is great. But the cons there, you don't have revision control, so maybe you don't want someone to save over that specific template, for example, or you want the past version of that template.
Yeah, to
And
Brian's point, I was going to say, so Volt is your one source of truth. That's why I like it in, like Brian said, with new 2024 Volt functionality, it allows for the mapping of your templates and design data. So if any change occurs, the next time somebody opens up Inventor or just does a project change between the Volt project file default and back, it'll automatically download, or first it'll search to make sure there isn't any changes in any templates and design data, but if there are, it'll download the latest and greatest, making it so you don't have to go in and do the get. I know in the past, having templates design data in the Vault, it was the person would change the file, cat admin, so to speak, would modify the template and then have to send out like an email or to the users, hey, we've changed the template and go ahead and do a get now. So that new functionality in 24 is really nice. Network cloud drives, see that a lot again, that works. Benefit of having in the Vault is the security, and yeah, if it's overridden or deleted, you have that past version you can always reference, go back to. And there are some companies that do revision control on their template. So that's added feature for having it there. But network cloud drive works with regards to collaboration, just not the same level of security, I would say. Local drive, we do see that if you're a single user, great. If you're collaborating, can get a little messy there, and we'll touch on some of those points when we get into the call here. And lastly, looking at content center library, kind of a mixed bag. Again, Autodesk Vault Server is one source of truth aspect there, version control, security, desktop content. You can do it in a collaborated function. There are some pitfalls there, which we'll discuss. And then not using Content Center, need to get you on that because it's a really cool tool. So.
Yeah, it allows you to, if you're using off-the-shelf parts, right, you're able to import that into Inventor, as opposed to maybe going to McMaster-Carr or something, right, to get the step file there. So yeah, many benefits from using that there.
Yeah, I've even grabbed a copy of the Content Center and the bolts and just applied the McMaster-Carr part numbers to it, and brings a great bill of material. So it needs to be configured if you have some customization going on, but the benefits are definitely worth it.
All right, upgrade pitfalls and manage upgrades. About the pitfalls, Mario.
Right. So this partially began on a personal level to a degree. Again, I've been a customer KETIV for a long time, working in both CAD admin and user sides. And as a user, I would customize my Inventor a lot of times. Later in the Vault admin side, I would customize Vault interfaces, get into custom material libraries, Content Center. And a lot of times when it was a company that had a dedicated or outsourced IT would do a upgrade over the weekend, we'd be working one way on Friday, weekend would be the upgrade, and we come back Monday and we can't create new drawings because the templates haven't been migrated. We can't access our Vault user interface because the configuration files were not transferred over with all the user customization for that. Styles haven't been migrated. A variety of things that pop up there, and you'll notice when you, I guess, come into a new upgraded environment, open up Inventor and start going through your workflow. You might see style conflicts, which see we have an image here. Templates that haven't been migrated. You try to create a new drawing, and the template is not migrated. So it's saying, hey, you have to go back and open up your template exclusively and save it within the new version software. And again, we spoke on the lost user customization. And the approach that we're looking at here was just to make these pitfalls pretty much go away, make the headaches go away, come in and do a proactive approach and look at what you guys got going on, so that we can identify all of these things that do need to be transferred over to get a seamless transition. And let Brian talk on the managed upgrade aspect of it.
Yep. So with the manage upgrade aspect of it, what we decided to do to make it more of a seamless transition, like Mario was saying, was to schedule, in addition to our Vault upgrade conversations with customers, for the streamlined subscription, for the Vault data management subscription, and the Vault as a service subscriptions. If you don't know what those are, email us, and we're happy to kind of educate you on that. But we've also been scheduling Inventor pre-configuration meetings, which is one-on-one with your Inventor power user, with your CAD admins, with engineering managers, things like that, to be able to go through a checklist of templatize of what we see are those pitfalls that customers are running to. How can we address that proactively? This is a proactive meeting that we have prior to the upgrade. So then we can diagnose this and look under the hood. I'll let Mario speak to the diagnosis part of that, but it's a benefit that I'm a little jumping the gun a little bit here, but it is a benefit that you get with your part of streamlined Vault data management or Vault as a service. And yeah, I'll let Mario speak to the diagnosis part of that.
Right, diagnosis, like I said, it's kind of an under hood checkup. We're gonna check out your Inventor environment, partially your Vault environment, mainly the user interface aspects of such, and looking at your workflows. And we're looking for templates, we're looking for iLogic, we're looking for forms, we're looking for add-ins, a variety of things. We'll go down the list here, but the whole idea was, if you're on 2022 on Friday, upgrade over the weekend. When you come in on 2024 Monday, you turn on your station, you log in, grab your vaulted project file and all of your CAD resources, so to speak, your templates, design data, content center, iLogic forms, add-ins, any features that are being used in the old workflow are also working in the new workflow.
Yep. And at the end of the day, we want a better overall experience for the customer, for you guys. We want to reduce the number of reactive metaphorical fire support tickets that come in, and just more efficiency at the end of the day. So now we're going to dive into the meat of it. So let's put a scenario out there that the customer is going from 2022 to 2024. They have Inventor Professional and Vault, let's just say Professional in this case, installed. We help Vault basic customers as well. And what we want as a prerequisite for the customer before our one-on-one call with them, with their Inventor power user, is one, we scheduled a meeting with them, but two, we want to make sure that they have, in this case, 2024 clients installed for Inventor, as well as the 2024 Vaults installed for their Vault. So then when we hop on the call, we can just dive right into it. So those are some of the prerequisites that we require. There's other details like making sure Vault data. What was that one again, Mario? The data for the
Vault data standard.
Data standard. Yep.
Right.
The Vault. Make sure that's not checked. If you're not using data standard, or you don't know what that is, just probably don't check it off. It is useful for other customers.
Yeah, it's one of the calls I think that we get in at times is Vault data standard was selected. Somebody goes to save a file in Inventor, and instead of their normal Windows dialog box to do a save, you get a block of a blocked dialog box forcing you to select in a blocked format, so to speak. There's a time and place for data standard. It's configured. It's a great tool. But if you don't have it, we want to make sure you're not installing it.
Yeah, and seems like if you accidentally install the server versus a client, that's a whole nother conversation. But we want these prerequisites done, and then we'll hop on to their screen and take a look under the hood, if you will. So I'll go ahead and just remind everyone, yes, you can ask questions. I see people commenting in the chat room, but yeah, you can ask questions throughout. I'll be monitoring this as Mario's showing his screen here. So
okay. Okay, so to get started, very first thing, open up Inventor. Every now and then, new users will get a call. want to make sure that you go and select your Vault project file, that's what you're working with. And once we've selected that, this is where we start getting into the meat of it to kind of take a look at what's going on. We'll go to appearance libraries, and I've created a custom library by initials here, MLS, Matilda appearance. So that lets us know, okay, there's some custom appearances going on here. Material libraries, same thing. We see that, and we'll have the conversation. If your design data is localized, then a lot of users might be seeing black when a blackened part, if you will, when the other user had created an expanded metal, custom expanded metal type of appearance. And to get everybody on the same page, we'll discuss about either moving it to a shared drive or potentially moving design data into the vault so that everybody's on the same page there. But initially, what we want to make sure is that those libraries are there. So when your new user goes to open up a file, everything looks as it should. Next one that we get into is in the folder options area. Here, we're going to want to take a look at where your templates are located. I particularly have them in the vaulted environment. Like I said, 2024 functionality now allows for the mapping of the template. So any change I make to a template automatically would get pushed to any users utilizing those templates. After the templates, we want to come here, look at design data, and kind of explain where that role goes. If it's in the vault, new mapping allows for the push out of that. If it's a network environment, fine. If we find it in a localized environment, we're having that conversation, just letting the customer know you might be dealing with situations where a user created some balloon styles or text styles or dimension styles, which is what was wanted. But because they was created in a localized environment, they remain embedded in a initial drawing, and any users opening that drawing can use that style because it's embedded in that drawing. But if a user two wanted to generate a new drawing with that style, they would not have access to it because the design data is localized. So for collaborative workflow, we have a discussion and say, if we're looking at a localized design data, try to put that on network drive, or you want us to look at putting that into the vault and getting that set up for you guys.
Yeah.
And
real quick, just to chime in, yeah, as Mario's going along this, we typically have the back and forth with the customer conversations about reasons why they have it in certain locations. There's other variables that come in throughout this, but right now, since we just say, this is what the customer typically says, we're going through it a little quicker than what the call that we have with them typically is.
Right. Next one that we look at is Content Center files. When it comes to Content Center, there's two aspects. You have a library and you have the files. Library can be vaulted in our Inventor desktop content. This here was a desktop content, not yet transferred to the vault. That's why you see these not being available. But here is where you would find out your location. If it's desktop content, this will tell you where your libraries are at. Otherwise, if it's in the Vault server, then a standardized location there. And then same thing with the Content Center files. Typically, those are vaulted here. Yeah, the Vault Content Center file. So anytime you generate, let's say, a square tubing, and you're not saving it to a standardized location, or say hardware, any files generated from the Content Center libraries are going to that folder. And with regards to collaborative workflows, Content Center, you do want, we call it network. You can do that, or you do it in the vault, because you want everybody to be able to pull up same custom content that's been created. And that's the other thing we also look for, as well as any custom libraries that might have been created. Typically, there's the My Library, but that gets renamed and that gets utilized because you're not able to actually add or modify the existing libraries, just the read write that would be on the My Library. And to that note, one thing that we also see at times, customers upgrading, just to show on the Content Center side of things, they will come in and they will have a library that's on the Vault server, but they're looking at Inventor desktop content. So they log into Inventor, they go to do a frame generator, they go to select some custom profile. Maybe they got some Bosch Rail profile in there that they're utilizing, and they can't find it or don't have access to that content. It's mostly going to be because they have not come in here and made sure that the content center is looking at the server versus the desktop content location. Going down the list here, templates, design data, content center. Well, next thing we're going to look at is styles. And I know this is something everyone deals with at some point or another. I go ahead and create a conflict here just to show what it will look like. So you've upgraded, or even in your current environment, anytime you open up a template, you're running into this. This is a case where the styles are not being managed correctly, so to speak. People are creating content and they're keeping it local, or the styles library itself is not being updated with any of the customizations that are occurring. So that being the case, we like to open up each of the templates and kind of take a look. Really see a lot of the changes in the drawing templates. But we'll come in here to the styles editor.
And as we're waiting for the styles editor to open up there, I know it took a while on our practice run.
There we go.
We do offer we do these type of calls for, as a reminder, the streamlined Vault data management and Vault service customers. If you are one of those and you haven't had one yet, rest assured we are planning to do yours next. But just as a reminder for everyone who's on the call here.
Yep, that's right. And now in the style and standard editor library, we're taking a look here and looking. A lot of times we'll see that a company-based standard has been created, one or two of them. And that being the case, we identify that there is custom styles. And in the post, we will come and do the migration of those styles and the newer styles. A lot of the newer styles being, for example, 3D annotation. I think there was an edge symbol that came out 23 or 24. Want to make sure that that functionality is available to you, even if you do have a customized style library. We want those generic ones to also be available to you if you do choose to add and modify those in the future. So once we're done looking at styles, the thing we are going to check out is iLogic. Sometimes we'll come in here and we'll find within the templates themselves embedded forms and rules. Other times we will also find global forms and external rules. So this is iLogic that's been saved to a file. Again, recommend those being in the vault for safekeeping, one source of truth and all, and they could all be mapped. But sometimes these external rules are in a network drive. Sometimes they're not all in the same location. So depending on the situation, we want to identify and look at that and make sure everything is mapped in the right direction. Again, any forms, iLogic rules that we're executing Friday when you're working on 22, we want those working Monday when you come in to run 2024. And Brian, we'll touch on the iLogic stuff.
Yep, just about to chime in. And as a disclaimer, if there's any custom iLogic code, we will try to help, at a high level, bringing that over to the newer version, especially if it was working in the previous one. But we have a lot of customers who create a lot of different custom iLogic code. We don't know what's being written, right? If it's right or wrong. So we're not responsible for making sure that the customizations for those iLogic code works, but we will try our best to work with you to get that to work.
Right.
But if it's, it could take hours, if not days, for some of these codes that we've seen in the past. So we want to make sure to make that statement that we will try to help at a high level, but making sure that the customization carries over, that'll be treated separately.
Right. And yeah, just to reiterate on Brian, the scope of the proactive meeting here to look under the hood is to see how everything is. If there is broken iLogic, if there is broken forms, we will identify it. So it'll be identified, and we can do a follow-up conversation if you're looking to repair that, or if you're looking to consolidate or even clean up of random situations where users generated iLogic 4 or 5 years ago, and that user is no longer with the company, and they're just floating around, and some of them are broken. So we like to just kind of clean up and make everything for a good transition. So after on the iLogic side, rules. Go ahead, Brian.
Are you looking at the third-party add-in stuff?
Right. That's the next step that we're going to jump into now, is third-party add-ins. So again, now we're going to come in here and look to see if there's any special add-ins. Particularly, we're looking for the Autodesk add-ins, for example, Inventor Cam. I know it's one that doesn't come off it doesn't get installed automatically with Inventor Professional. So we'll have the conversation. Are you guys utilizing the Cam feature, or I forget the other thing? Mesh enabler or mesh generator is another one that's out there that I've seen be used. 3D Inventor is a third party. See that a lot for the 3D mouse. If the 3D mouse not working, probably because it didn't get updated. So take a look. Like I said, we have the conversation. We identify, and even if there are third party apps, for sheet metal machine, I think we had a recent one where there was an add-in that came with a sheet metal bending machine, and we were able to identify it. It wasn't functionally properly, wasn't sure if it didn't have the necessary drivers or updates for 2024, but we identified it and can have that conversation if that's something that the customer wanted to get working for them. So in identification of this, we'll jot it down in our discovery here, so that when we come back on the post side after the upgrade, we make sure that these add-ins that you're utilizing as part of your workflow are loaded, are enabled, and working as intended. Okay, so next thing we're going to get to is on the user interface side of things. And this can be both on the independent user side, or it can be on a company-wide initiative or implementation. For example, on the application options, let's say the company wants everybody to be running the dark version, so to speak. All of that is controlled here. And even though upgrading from 24 Inventor to from 22 to 24, there is a migrate settings that pops up there, but just as a redundancy, we like to go ahead and export whatever the settings are. So we will ask whoever the power user is do the users do their own customization, or is it like a company-wide implementation? If it's company-wide, we want to make sure that there's a company applications XML that we've created. And also shortcuts, I'll get to that shortly. That's the other level of customization in Inventor that we take a look at. And if it's on the user side, where the users are doing their own customization, we want to let the person running the conversation know that these are the locations, or this is the process to tell your users to export their application option in 2022 and bring it into 2024. One of the nice things I think that has happened recently is with the Inventor 2024, with the versions being there. I know back in the day it used to be without the years there that these files would be overridden, but now since everything is has that version year, it gives the opportunity to come back just in case you did not get those application options or shortcuts or customization saved away. So that's the application. Go ahead.
Yep. Sorry, I just added in our chat room just an example of the location that Mario just showed. So in case you want to keep that handy, there's the ones for the shortcuts. There's a couple of folders you have to dig into to get to it, but that's where the XML file is located that Mario is showing there on the screen.
Correct. And the other level customization will be here in the Customize tab. This is where we will find keyboard shortcuts or any modifications to the ribbon that have been done. Again, we do an export. Same location as the application options. And if it is company-wide or even for yourself as a user, it doesn't hurt to have this in the vault. I love the one source of truth option, just having everything there, know where it's at. Somebody wants to copy my settings, tell them what folder to go to and grab it for themselves.
And
So,
and if it wasn't already carried over, right when you opened up 2024, when it asks you to, there's an idea station for it here. I just put that also in their chat room, where you can upvote it. It is something that is being taken into consideration by Autodesk. As long as we keep upvoting that, the sooner they'll get to the next version of Vault.
right. And now we come into the Vault side. So I'm going to open up the 2022 Vault client, and I know it's 24, but say we were going through the process, I'd be opening up the older version of Vault client. And now I'm going to take a look at search folders. I'm going to take a look at shortcuts. We're going to be looking at the properties, other properties, the grid state. So any custom columns that have been set up here, and then also at view styles. And we can do one here because this would be a good example of, step back up there. So in my case, I just updated from 23 to 24, and I had a custom view style set up for all of my, these were bushings. Okay. So yeah, I had a bushing custom category and some custom views here, and they're no longer here. So wanting to get those steps for that fall into, and I think these are the locations that Brian threw up on the chat. So we're going to look at, for example, custom view style. And this is when we're upgrading customers, happens all the time. We'll open up the Vault client and say, where are my views? Where's my stuff? This doesn't look the same way. So that's how we go about this process here. So grid state and view styles on this one here. So those are going to be located in C, users, username, app data, roaming, Autodesk Vault Professional. And I'm actually looking for the ones from 2023. Where are we going here? So going into servers, Vault server name. It's deep down in here. Vault and KETIV is our Vault name, object, and there we go. So this is my view styles, and I also want to grab my grid state. I'm going to copy those, and we're going to step it back now and go over here to 2024 and servers, Vault name, those and objects, paste these. Okay. And now go ahead and open up the Vault.
So Mario, if I was a CAD admin and my users were asking this, would they have to kind of just note the locations of this and make sure they have the XML file from the previous version?
Like I said, because of the having the version in the folder name, like I said, it used to be, I'm thinking back 2018, maybe 2019, that once he did the upgrade, it would overwrite these files here. But now with the years being here, even if you've upgraded to 2024, you can always go back like I just did to the 2023 folder, grab the ones that I need, copy them over to the 2024 folder path. And as you can see here, here's my custom view. And originally it was looking something like this, but I did create custom view, custom grid state, and here they are, pushing
And-
both images.
And you just replace those XML files.
Yeah, that's all I did was replace the XML files that I had generated from 23. The way the way the customization in Vault works is anytime that you modify, for example, I'll come in here and customize the view, change, we'll move one of these up, so to speak. That changes these two, or swapping these two out. When you close Vault, it automatically writes that information to those XML files. So any changes you do upon closing get automatically saved. And if you have customized it to how you want it, you can always grab those XML files and create a folder in the Vault to have them for safekeeping. They cannot be mapped to those locations in the Vault. They have to be in these specific folder paths, but you have those available if you did want to control, have that level of control with the user interface, if you will. Let's see.
And
What we
we had
doing?
a question that was relevant to this about, is it
Sure.
possible to house those Vault View XML files to the Vault? And he was saying that you just answered that question as you were going along.
Right. So yes, you can house them there, but like it's a copy that's being stored there. It's not the files that are being read to the Vault. Like I said, those files have to be, and there used to be a for those of you a couple years back, there was Thunderdome, and this is what Thunderdome did. You went to Thunderdome, which was an add-in in Vault, and you would say, save my settings, and it would write those XML files and copy them into a kind of like a temp folder, and then anybody else that had Thunderdome could, when they open up their computer, it automatically grab those and update everybody else's. So this is the Idea Station item. I believe it's, not sure if it's called like a configuration tool or a customization tool for Vault, but it is in the Vault Idea Station. Go ahead and throw your Vaults on there, because yeah, it alleviates having to do all the various ones that are out there. Let's see, I believe there's, yeah, just to note them, the save searches, shortcuts, toolbars, grid states, and custom views are the ones in the Vault, customization wise. And one of the last steps that we do here in the pre-configuration meeting is we will open up 2024. And I will have created here. Up in the templates folder, I will have created a 2024 folder and copied all the 2022 templates into here. And what we do is, opening up Inventor 2024, we'll open up all of these and we will save them. And that is the migrating process that alleviates you from getting that. When you're in a new version, you go to create a new drawing, it tells you that the template has not been migrated. This is that step here. So now when we come in the post and everybody's there, we will grab these migrated ones and replace the ones that were the 2022 files that were in the template map folder, basically replacing these here. And once that's done, you're good to go with opening of the files. And that's it, I think, on this part of the pre-demo, and then we can talk on the post aspect.
Sure. One question to come in, and it's, what is the migrating process for the entirety of an organization's existing Vault files?
What we recommend is kind of work as you go. So as you check out an assembly, and let's say any children of that assembly, and go to save it in the new version, when you check it back in, well, when you save it, at that point, you've migrated those files from whatever version they were, let's say 2022 to 2024, and then you check them back in to the Vault. There is a migration function that you can do with Task Scheduler, and I do believe there's also services that us KETIV offer for mass migration. I have to maybe do a follow-up, or maybe Brian knows exact reasoning for wanting to do all of the migration. In my experience, we've always done kind of migrate as you go.
Yeah, same from my experience is the default answer is migrate as you go, because it's the other route is like he was saying, I think it was task schedule. I have to double check the exact tool there, but it takes, especially if you have a lot of data, it could take days, if not weeks, to get all of them done. So migrating as you go would be the short answer there.
Right, but the main thing, I guess, within the scope or the focus of this, you really want to migrate what we call your CAD resources. So you want to migrate your template, you want to migrate your styles, and you want to migrate your content center libraries. Those are the resources that Inventor is using to generate your production content and data. So you want to make sure that those resource files are migrated, because that is what will bring up potential errors and so forth.
And there is another question from Claudio here. I will save that one for the end. Let's finish up the last couple minutes here, and then we'll jump right back to that question.
Sure. Okay, so I think we're going to the post slide.
Yeah, or there's actually a styles library manager slide.
Oh, there we go.
So I can show that first. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we got it there. So this is a step that we do on the post side, is that we will come in here, and once we've done the upgrade on the left side, typically we'll see the default styles that are 2024. Anything that's new will be in blue. So for example, 3D annotation or edge symbol, I think is one that comes up regularly. We will transfer those over to library 2, which is the actual library that's being used. And at the same time, we also will migrate that primary library to make sure all those styles are migrated. But this is a tool that's used a lot of times. If we're running into a situation where we've had 5 users using their design data locally, then we're going through this process a lot, because we are opening up each one of their libraries and we're looking at which is the correct library, what is the intended style that was intended to be used. Was it balloon number 2, balloon number 3, or balloon number 4? And we are going through those steps to make sure that everything gets consolidated into a good single working library that can then be distributed out, hopefully by moving it into a network shared drive or moving it into the vault. And so everybody's on the same page with their styles and not dealing with the file conflicts anymore when they open up any given drawing or generate a new drawing or a new file. And here now we're going to touch on the post upgrade service. So we've already had the pre-meeting. We've kind of done our discovery. We've identified things. We've optimized where capable. But now Vault has been upgraded. Users potentially have all their 2024 stuff set up. And first thing we want to do is we're going to come in and open up Inventor. Make sure it opens up, no licensing issues, no activation issues, no mapping issues. They loaded design standard by accident. Okay, we'll get that off. Or they didn't load design standard and they use it, and we'll put that on for them. We are going to go ahead and open up the Vault client, just like I showed. If there was any customization, make sure that that's there. We are going to get the project file and make sure that all of that works as intended. We're going to migrate custom content center libraries. So anytime there's an upgrade, content center libraries that are the generic default content center libraries, those update by themselves. But any custom content center has to be manually migrated. So we'll go ahead and do that step. Let's see here, we will move the migrated templates that we were talking about. So those that were in that 2024 folder, we'll put them into the map template folder and delete the 2024 folder. So that'll take care of that migration. We'll do the styles migrating via the library manager. We showed that in the previous screen. Opening up each template. This is nothing. So we've upgraded and we're going to open up every one of your templates, every drawing template, every presentation part, assembly, weldment. Make sure that if there's any iLogic rules or forms that were functioning prior, that those are functioning as should be. Any add-ins, make sure there's no style conflicts. If there are, get those resolved. Ensure any custom styles and those are available. Talked on Content Center. Yeah, we'll open up Content Center, make sure your custom library is accessible. Spoke on iLogic rules and forms, and load custom. Yeah, that was the XML files with the Vault client interface. At the end of the day, we're there pretty much doing a hand holding. We identified things in the front end. We're coming on the back end now and making sure everything's working as it should be and getting you guys going.
Yep, that's a good segue to kind of like the overview of the whole process, right? We try to summarize that into 50 minutes here as much as possible. But there's definitely the prerequisite and the pre-meeting, right? So there's meeting for the Vault upgrade, meeting with the Inventor stuff, which is what the checklist that we were having going through, what Mario was showing earlier. And then there's going to be a post meeting. So after the Vault is upgraded, we're going to, open up your Inventor, open up your Vault, and take a look at, if there's any errors that pop up. But we're trying to reduce that as much as possible with the pre-migration part of it. So that's kind of like from end to finish. It's just making sure that whole process is as seamless as possible. We understand what's in the system before we do the upgrade as much as possible. And right. Each customer is different, so we can't completely templatize the whole thing, but we templatize as much as we can for all the similar functionalities.
And to add on that, this process, I know it took us 50 minutes here. I think we're ranging anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes, depending on complexity, on these pre-configuration meetings. But a couple of benefits. The meeting is recorded, so we can offer that, to the customer. And if they're setting up new users, and there is a large degree of customization that's necessary, not customization, say configuration necessary when a new user is brought in, you have that as a reference. And we have our discovery identification of your environment. So that helps us out on the support side sometimes, whether it be a new user setting up and doesn't have access to what they should have access to, or we're troubleshooting things. And lastly, next year's upgrade should be that much simpler, that much easier, because we've already done our homework, we've looked at it, and you guys, everyone's identified, what kind of environment we're working with, and it should be a very seamless transition going there on forward.
And a lot of these calls, we're really educating the CAD admin or the Inventor power user as well. Sometimes they didn't know right from wrong or what's out there really, and a lot of times we find yourself on the call taking away a couple of things from the knowledge, and because we do this twice, 3 times a week, these kind of types of meetings. So we definitely have been through it and we've seen a lot of different scenarios.
Yep. Getting into the Q&A, I think aspects I was checking out. I think this is Claudio was asking on the iPart.
Yeah.
Yes, that would work. I will see if there's a other way to do that, but that definitely bring in the iPart factory and all of their generated files into an assembly. Because assembly, you're not working within the functionality of an iPart at this point. We're just dealing with files. So as long as all the factories and parts are unlocked in a writable state and able to be open in the new version, saved, and then check back in, you're good to go. Even beyond, before checking it in, the minute you save those, that's when the file has been migrated at that point. But then checking it into that migrated file goes into the Vault, so that everybody else is also now working with that migrated file.
All right, and as I blinded you all with the red screen here, if you have any questions, right now, feel free to ask him. We'll stay on a couple minutes here to answer any questions. And if you have questions later on, just remember support@ketiv.com is the email to email us, and you can mention, based off the webinar Brian and Mario did, I had this question, and we're more than happy to address that. And if you like your own look under the hood, if you will, like we were doing today, and we can take a look at that, reach out to us as well, and we're happy to have a conversation with you about that. So we'll give it a few minutes here for questions, and if no questions, then make sure to scan that QR code that's previously shown here on the screen, as well as check out this recording if you want to refer back to something that was covered. This will be posted onto our YouTube channel as well.
And also wanted to add that even if you're in an inventor environment that you don't have Volt, or even you're running Volt Basic, this all applies. But if you're not in the Vaulted environment, there's a large aspect of it just in upgrading Inventor. Those CAD resources are just imperative that you have those pathed correctly, migrated correctly, to get successful functionality within Inventor itself. So there's a lot of it that does apply just on the Inventor side, even in a non-Vaulted environment.
Good point. Yep. All right. Don't see. Oh. Yes, I can email you the directories for those vaults XML file locations. I only put 2 of them here in the chat, but I'm happy to do that, Claudio, separately outside of the webinar here. Definitely.
Yeah, actually, let's see. I think I can grab all of them and put them in here, just in case.
Great.
They're more or less all in the app data location. I think from what I saw, like the 2 I posted there, the XMLs, they're both under objects, but yeah, we'll send it to you anyways, just to make sure. So
Yeah.
I'm not guessing.
Brian and Mario, thank you so much for your time and expertise today. Like you said, these will be posted on our website and on KETIV.com. Support@KETIV is a great place to reach out if you have questions in general. Thank you so much for your time today, and we'll look forward to having you guys back.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
Have a good
Guys,
one.
have a good one.
Thanks,
Take
everyone.
care, everyone.